Yo, what's going on? My name is Robbie Cornelius, and this live stream that I'm doing right now, I'm live streaming on TikTok, I'm live streaming on YouTube. This live stream is all about creating your personal economy. Your personal economy. After my meditation, this, when I got out of bed today, I was about to say this morning, but I don't like to use the word morning. But when I got out of bed today after I meditated, I thought about what value I could bring into your world. And this overwhelming desire to educate and share my experience on how you can create your personal reality is the inspiration behind today's live stream. So it's all about creating your personal economy. Because when you look around in the world today, everywhere you look, everywhere you go, there are broadcasts, there are messages being put out all across the world, and it can make you feel as if everything is coming to an end. And I just wanted to remind you of a few basic things when it comes to your economy and the economy. Now, I'm not an economist, but what I am is an individual that has learned to shape my reality despite what was going on in the external world. And this might challenge your current paradigm. This could challenge your current paradigm because I'm going to entertain a few concepts that maybe you haven't heard before, or maybe you have heard them before, but maybe you haven't heard them in this way. But these concepts that I want to present to you today, if you open your mind up for a little bit and accept the possibility of these concepts being true, and if you apply them, they could possibly improve the quality of your life experience dramatically. Now, as a disclaimer, I don't know you. I don't know what your skill sets are. I don't know your current situation. All I'm doing is channeling my experience, and hopefully you'll hear something that you resonate with that you can use to transform your economy. Now, when you look around in the world today, on the media, on social media, when you go to the grocery stores, when you turn on the radio, even in movies, if you pay close attention, you'll realize there's this constant underlying message being promoted to the masses on a consistent basis. And this constant underlying message that's being promoted to the masses on a consistent basis, this message is a message of hopelessness. A message of hopelessness, a message of frustration. This is what is being promoted to the masses all across the world right now. I was watching a movie a few days ago with my significant other, and there was this part in the movie where I just looked over at my wife and I'm like, it's everywhere, isn't it? And she said, yeah, because she know what I was talking about. But this underlying message that's being promoted right now, that's been promoted over the last 2 or 3 years, it's a message of hopelessness, and it's a message of division. It's a message of anxiety. It's a message that is designed to rattle the spirit of the average individual. And so what I'm going to share with you today, hopefully, are tools that will help you remain calm when you're thinking about your financial situation. Because from my experience, when you're calm, you can make better financial decisions. So I'm going to share some just some concepts that have helped me out in life. And hopefully they'll help you out in life as well. So when you look around, you hear people talking about the economy. Now, I want you to think about the economy. The economy, the way I look at it, is an economy that I have very little control over. There are people in high places that get to determine the temperature of the economy. These are people who are in power, political power. These people can tell you how much gas prices are going to be. These are people that will tell you how much rent is going to be, how much mortgage is going to be, what the bank interest loans are going to be. These are the people that control that. These are the people that control the economy. And what the average person will do is that they have their attention set on the economy. So whatever the media tells the average person is the nature of the economy, that ends up becoming the economy of that person individually, if they allow that information to impact them in a fearful way. So I want to set the economy aside really quickly, and I want to focus on your economy, because at the end of the day, your economy is the only one that matters, to be honest. If I can help you get your economy better, you can help somebody else get their economy better. And if their economy is better, it can go on and on and on. So we can't get overwhelmed by the economy, first and foremost. So what I'm going to ask you to do for a little bit is to suspend your consumption of mainstream media for a little bit. Suspend your consumption of mainstream media for a little bit, because when you blindly accept whatever is coming through the channels of mainstream media, when you blindly accept that information, you blindly accept that world as well, that world view. Because that information becomes a filter that you see the world through. So if you're constantly bringing in information that is fearful, if you're constantly bringing in information about lacking limitations, if you're constantly bringing in information about doom and gloom, when you look around in your personal reality, all you'll see is doom and gloom. But this is where the average person falls short, because the average adult thinks that you should be worried about things. Somewhere along the lines, adults think that worry is equivalent to caring. Oh, I should be worried about this because if I worry about this thing, this shows that I care about this thing. Oh, I'm worried about the economy. I'm worried about this, worried about that. And we think that we are responsible adults when we are worried. I drove through my neighborhood a few nights ago, and everybody in my neighborhood, oh, I love that statement right there. Ryan Cody says, worrying is like praying for things you don't want. Absolutely fact. Ryan, that is absolutely fact. I was driving through my neighborhood a few nights ago, and we live on a little mountain, and it was like it's completely dark in the neighborhood. So when someone has their television on, everybody's windows are open and you can see people's televisions. Like 10:30 at night, I drove by and I looked to my right at this beautiful home, and they had CNN on at 10:30 at night, right before bed. They're watching the news. So imagine the vibration, the emotion that person is laying down with at night, if the news is the last thing that you're consuming before bed. And you see this more with older people. Older people they tend to watch the news the older that they get. The more old they get, the longer they live, the more they watch the news over and over again. If you go to the average old person's house, they have the news on. Even if they're not watching it, it's in the background. It's like an oxygen tank for them. They can't get away from it. You go to your grandparents' house, the news is on. What's granddad doing? Oh, he's in there watching the news. What's grandma doing? Oh, she's watching the news. And you would think that if the news was good for you, you would be so well educated that you wouldn't be worried about anything. But if you talk to the average older person, the only thing on their minds a lot of times is politics. Why is that? Because the older they get, the more they consume it, and the more you consume something, the more that information is on your mind. And I have a theory. I think that you age, the quality of your aging is based off of the quality of the information you intake while you're aging. And also food is information too. But also, most importantly, the media. The more you consume the media, I feel like the weaker you become, the more worried you become. Now, I want you to think about this. You might not be able to connect the dots, and I might be reaching when I say this, but I've been living long enough to observe my fair share of elderly people. Okay? And 9 times out of 10, you go to an older person's house, they are constantly broadcasting the news in their home, even when they're not watching it. Okay? Even when they're not consciously watching it, the news is broadcasting. And then also, in addition to that, the average person that's broadcasting the news like that are also on a bunch of medicines. They're usually highly medicated people who are always going to the doctor over and over again. And to cope with what they're getting from the media and to cope with their constant health issues, they resolve it a little bit by going to church on Sundays. And then eventually that person continues this cycle until they're buried 6 feet deep. I've watched it over and over and over and over again. And I can't help but to wonder if it is hypnosis. I think it's hypnosis. Hello, Tanya. I think it's hypnosis. I truly believe it is hypnosis. When people are hypnotized, they don't even know that they are hypnotized. You go to the average old person's house, the news is in the back. So I'm driving through my neighborhood a few nights ago. Everything is dark. All the houses are lit up in the living room. And the vast majority of the homes that were playing TV were either watching sports or the news. Just looping around. So I want you to understand this. Imagine you went to a friend's house and every time you talked to that friend, they were talking about something negative. They were talking about what's going on in Russia, what's going on in Afghanistan, what's going on in Ukraine, eventually you'd get either sucked in and become just as negative as that friend, or you would get tired of that friend and stop going around that person, right? The news is the same way. So it doesn't matter if it's your friend or if it's the TV feeding you that information that causes you to be fearful. You're still being indoctrinated over and over again. Your mind is being hypnotized by information that it's different information, but the information has a common underlying frequency, and it's a frequency of fear. So it don't matter if you're fearful about COVID, it don't matter if you're fearful about Ukraine or Russia, or if you're upset about politics or gas prices or rent or or your mortgage or interest rates. It doesn't matter what you're fearful about. The common message is an underlying message of fear. And this is how those at the top, the elite, control the masses. So they don't care what you are upset about. They don't care if you're upset about race. They don't care if you're upset about the economy or whatever. They just want you in a state of fear. Because when you're fearful, if I can get you to be afraid of me, then if I can get you to be afraid of something, I can literally get you to move in the direction that I want you to go in. I want you to think about it from a very high level. Not from the earth plane. I want you to think about it from, imagine you were in a skyscraper and you were looking down at all the people that were down there below. And you realize that because you're up high, you have a different vantage point than those people. You can see where they're headed before they even get there. Because you're so highly elevated, you can see what's down the road before they can, because they're looking at it from a three-dimensional point of view. You're looking at it from a higher dimension, right? Because you're in this skyscraper. This is how those who are in power look at the masses. And they get to tell us which direction they want us to move in based off of the broadcasting. Think about it, broadly casting. They're broadly casting a spell on humanity that causes the average individual to move in the direction they want you to move in. And so here's what I'm getting at when it comes to the economy. If you are just like everybody else and you are fearful about not having enough money, you're going to end up like everybody else. The quickest way to end up as an elite, to end up as a 1% or a 5%, is to be in a room filled with 100 people and walk out and go into a room where there's less people. Meaning, if you train yourself, if you learn how to move in opposition of the masses, you will end up experiencing a different version of reality than the vast majority of those people. So here's what I'm getting at here. Let's imagine that you and I are both in the same building. We both enter the same room. And while you're in that room, I look around and I decide I need to go to another room. I come back and chaos has broken out in the room. We're in the same building, but I didn't get to experience the chaos because I wasn't in the room with you. I was in a different room at the time the chaos broke out. That's how reality is. We're all on this one room called Earth, but everybody has a different version of reality based off of the filter that they are perceiving reality through. And for instance, we can all be in the same atmosphere, but we can perceive that atmosphere in different ways. You might say, man, I'm having a horrible time. And I might say, I'm having an amazing time, although we're in the same place. What's the difference? The difference is what's in your mind and what's in my mind. That's the only difference. The way you're perceiving it and the way I'm perceiving it. And the way you're perceiving it is going to cause you to go in a certain direction. And the way I'm perceiving it is going to cause me to go in a certain direction. Reality is not the same for everybody. And I think there's a disconnect between people that are trying to make the world the same for everybody, because it'll never be the same for everybody, because everybody is a different version of reality. Every person is an individual version of reality. Every individual. We could never all have the same life experience, ever. No matter how many policies are placed, your number one job is to become the master of your own personal universe. Your own personal universe. Olette, what's up, Olette? The only thing that is the same, says Olette, is that everybody controls their own world. Absolutely. Stay with me, Olette. I want to expand on that. And Olette, tell me if I'm wrong. But the challenge is you might have your mind set to be in the world a certain way, but the challenge is when you come across different people, places, and things, everyone is trying to pull you into their version of reality. And the hard part is making sure that you're not getting sucked into a reality that is going to be harmful for you just so that you can say you feel where another person is coming from. This is where the average person falls victim to being sucked into somebody else's reality that's not really good for them. So the hardest part is when you make up your mind about how you're going to live in this world. When you turn on the news, the world is going to tell you how you should be. When you get on social media, the world is going to tell you how you should be. Everybody's trying to tell you how you should be. Look at even me. I'm even telling you about how you could be. But your power comes when you decide, okay, I have sifted through all the information and here's what I'm choosing for myself. I can't control what John is going through. I can go, you ever seen this? You can literally go right now and give a homeless person $100,000. And if you come back, if that person doesn't elevate their mind to be able to handle that amount of money, if you come back a month or two later, that person will be completely on the streets again. Why is that? Is it because the system structured it so that he loses all his money? Or was it because that person didn't have the mentality, the capacity to hold on to that much money? See, it's all energy. Right now, if I take a small circuit and I try to send a tremendous amount of energy through that circuit, my breaker will pop. That's the same way humanity is. If you try to hold on to something that you're not ready for, you will literally blow a fuse. Hello, how are you? Everyone is trying to vacuum you into their reality. That's called the struggle you fight in it. Exactly. And hey, Chasen, my niece Chasen is here. Hello, Chasen. So your job is to say to yourself, and I talk to my two boys, Kate and Caleb, about this every single day. I talk to them every single day. I said, sons, before you walk out of the house, you have to make up your mind as to who you are going to be today. Because if you don't, the world is going to tell you who you are and you're going to react to it. But if you make up your mind before you leave the house, this is who I choose to be today. You are going to have a shield of armor that protects you. And in fact, not only will this shield of spiritual armor protect you, but it will prevent you from going in places that are going to do you harm. It will cause you to get caught in traffic and miss a certain turn. It'll cause you to leave the house earlier. If you stay in this spirit of positivity, if you stay in this spirit of peace and well-being, you will be guided to the right places at the right time, and you will avoid experiencing a lot of the chaos that takes place in the world. And the reason why I know that is because I've been living it for the past decade. When I was a very negative person, I stayed in negative environments and I hung out with negative people. When I believed that I was meant to struggle, I hung out with other people that were struggling. When I believed that I was poor, I hung out with other poor people. When I started to believe, this is what happens to you now. Pay attention to this. When you meet people in the reality that you meet them in. And a lot of times you meet people in a reality that you're trying to get out of. But here's what's happened. You meet good people in a low reality. And so in order to maintain those friendships, you have to also maintain that low reality. Have you ever noticed that when you start to become a different person, when you start to improve yourself, you literally start to separate from the people that you once knew because you are literally being pulled out of their reality. And the bad part is the only way to maintain that relationship is if they decide to come with you or if you decide to stay with them. But if you are wise enough you will understand that your number one job for your family, for your spiritual well-being, is to choose the reality you want to live in and make sure you maintain that level of frequency on a consistent basis. This is why people say out of sight, out of mind. Because what you give your attention to grows, it expands, it keeps it more real in your mind. If you wake up, don't you ever think about this? If you wake up right now and the first thing you do, you get on TikTok, and the first video you consume on TikTok is a negative video, and you sit there and watch it, 9 times out of 10, the next one you scroll to is going to be a negative video as well. And by the time you put down the phone, you're already so anxious that even if you stump your toe on the way to the restroom, you're even more agitated than you were before you woke up. And the spiral continues. The snowball continues to get bigger and bigger. And the more you engage in that, you find, as you're driving around, as you're talking to people, you find other things to point out that you're not satisfied with. You start off complaining about something small. Who left the dishes unclean? And then you move on to, why haven't anybody did the yards? And then you look at your neighbor's yard. My neighbor needs to clean up their junk. You drive down the road. Oh my God, I got a flat tire. You pump your flat tire. Oh my God, I don't have the money. It spirals over and over again because you woke up in the morning giving your attention to the negative. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm preaching because I'm definitely not a preacher, but I am passionate about what I'm telling you right now. So here's where we are right now. We're talking about the economy, and everything I just told you is correlated with the economy. So you have to make up your mind. As they're talking about, oh, we're going to another recession, you say, not me. The world might be going to a recession, but not my world. Not my world. Mother love. Hey, mama, my mom's in here. Not my world. My world, my economy is going to thrive. My economy is going to stay rich. I continue to bring money into my reality. My reality is filled with riches. And people say, oh, you're just putting your head in the sand. Call it what you want. You damn right I'm putting my head in the sand because I can't spend my time thinking about things that I can't control. I can't control what my neighbor is doing. I can't even control what my kids are doing. The only thing I can do is choose the reality I want to live in mentally, physically, spiritually, and I can be a walking testament, okay? A walking testament of what's possible for somebody else. I proudly tell people I am a 9th grade high school dropout. Why do I say that? Not to tell you to drop out, but to show you, I want you to think like, damn, if it's possible for him and he's black and he's tattooed up and he's not even religious, if it's possible for him, maybe it's possible for me. I have a high school education. I have a college education. I'm white. I'm this, I'm that. I'm a female. I'm telling you the worst parts about myself so that you can compare that to your situation and say, damn, if it's possible for him, it gotta be possible for me. So what does he know that I don't know? In fact, who has he decided to become that I haven't yet decided to become? That's why I'm telling you about what I've been through. So here's some tips for you, okay? Tip number 1. Stop listening to the news. And I know you're going to say, Robbie, I got to be edgy. I got to be informed, okay? It's a difference between being informed. I can be informed because I don't even watch the news, but y'all going to tell me about everything going on in the news. You're going to tell me. You're going to post it on TikTok. You're going to post it on Facebook. You're going to talk to me on the phone about it. You're going to send it to me in the email. I'm already informed. I don't need to watch Fox News, CNN, NBC. I don't need to watch any of that crap. And here's the deal. It ain't even news. It ain't even news. It's olds. Because by the time they tell you about it, it's already happened. So why are you watching something that has already happened? This is why you can't get ahead, because you're constantly consuming media based off of the past. By the time they tell you a black man got killed by a white cop, it's already happened. By the time they tell you about a shooting, it's already happened. It's already happened. So why are you now? If they can predict the future and this is what they try to do, they constantly Olet, what's up, brother? They constantly tell you about all the negativity of the past, and then notice they'll slide in there. Here's the upcoming doom and gloom for the future. Here's where the economy is going. Man, these dudes up there just reading a script. This is what you got to understand. These people, I was watching Congress a few days ago talk about UFOs. And this is when I checked out. Okay, let me tell you when I checked out. Congress had a meeting about UFOs. And then the first speaker was like, and he picked up a paper. I said, oh, he reading the script. I'm out. You can't trust a person that's sitting there reading a piece of paper. They already have determined what they want to tell you. The people that are sitting behind the cameras are reading a script. This is why people like Joe Rogan have one of the highest podcasts, because he's not reading a script. He's talking. Imagine if you were out there in the public and you were standing beside someone in a convenience store or an elevator, and they asked you how you were doing. And you were like, I'm doing great today. How are you, Bob? I'm doing great today. How are you? That's not reality. But if someone came up to you right now and said, how are you today, John? You'd be like, man, what the hell is wrong with you? But for some reason, we can sit there and watch these guys. All right, local authorities have said that blah, 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 blah. They're reading a script that 9 times out of 10, they didn't even write. They're just doing a job. Okay, so that's your first thing. Detach a little bit more from mainstream media. Okay, that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, make up your mind. When people normally talk about the concept of make up your mind, when people will say something like, hey, what do you want to eat? They're like, I don't know. Make up your mind, right? That's how the average person uses the terminology of make up your mind. But when I say make up your mind, I mean this. Go ahead and decide the quality of the thoughts you're going to unconsciously for the the majority of the day, as much as you possibly can. So make up your mind before you even get out of bed, before you even pick up your phone to scroll on social media for 3 hours. Go ahead and make up your mind. I sit there when I wake up in the morning, I open my eyes, I'm like, oh my God, I'm alive again. This is crazy. So then I'll close my eyes and I say, okay, I command my brain to focus on X, Y, and Z today. And that's me making up my mind for the day. So go ahead and make up your mind. Okay, decide what you're going to pay attention to. Here's what I'm getting at here. I want you to look around in your room right now. I want you to count how many things in your room that are the color blue. Go ahead. How many things are the color blue in your house right now? Somebody give me a number right now. Just, you don't have to count all the things that are blue. Just give me, when you count, give me a number. How many things are blue in your house right now? Okay. I'm going to paint a picture with this. How many blue items do you have in your room right now? The room that you're in. Blue. You're focused on the color blue. Blue. Pay attention to all the things that are blue. Is it 4 items, 3 items? Tanya says 3 items. You got 3 items in your home right now that are blue. Awesome, Tanya. Tanya, let me ask you another question. How many yellow things did you notice while you were counting the blue things? Guarantee you didn't notice many yellow things because I didn't tell you to focus on the yellow things. I told you to focus on the blue things. So every time you consume the media, you are allowing the media to make up your mind, and you are allowing the media to tell your mind what to focus on. Okay? Think about that. Exactly, Tanya. Think about that. Think about that. So as you're navigating out into this reality right now, I want you to notice, what's up? Hello. I want you to realize that what you pay attention to, you're only paying attention to it because you've been programmed to notice it. And what you have to do is make up your own mind. When you make up your own mind, you start programming your own mind to focus on what you want to focus on. So if you're always focused on the problems, you won't be able to recognize the solution. There can't be a left without a right. There can't be a up without a down. There can't be a high without a low. So there can't be a problem without a solution. But what most people do is they focus on the solution. They focus on the problem, excuse me. The average person is so hypnotized by the problem that even if you mention the solution, they're like, I ain't worried about what you just said. Let's talk about the problem. Because the problem is more emotionally charged for a lot of people. You hear somebody to talk about the problem, you're like, okay, well, what about this? You literally give them a solution. They're like, and then they go right back to the problem. So I want you to focus on the solution. Okay, make up your mind that today I'm going to focus on the solution. So here's a prime example. If your problem is you don't have enough money, because we're talking about economy. If your problem is you don't have enough money, your job is to recognize that, not dwell on it. All right, I acknowledge I don't have enough money. What's the solution? Go get more money. They're literally printing money every day, all day. They're printing more money than they know what to do with, which is why inflation is here. Because every time you print something, every time you multiply something, as far as every time you pull money out of thin air, the value of the money that was already here becomes weaker and weaker. That's what inflation is. Inflation, it's not that houses are higher. It's just that your dollar is weaker. A bag of sugar is a bag of sugar. A house is a house. Okay? 100 years ago, 30, 40 years ago, a bag of sugar cost 10 cents. Today, it's $4. Is it that the sugar has gotten better? No. It's that the dollar has gotten weaker. And you should be excited about that because it means that they've printed more of it. Think about it. In this world, it's very simple. People value things that are rare. Things that are rare cost more than things that are in abundance. So the fact that your money isn't worth much today shows you that there's an abundance of it. Okay? If $1 could buy a house, then a lot of people wouldn't have $1. Scarcity is what makes the average person value something. People value what they can't have. People value things that they don't feel like there's enough of. Okay? So your first job is to recognize that the solution is to make more money. Make more of it. How do you make more money, Robbie? Okay, easy for you to say, Robbie. How do you make more money? Easy. Where does money come from? Besides the government, where does money come from? I'm gonna give you the answer right now. Money comes from other people. Point blank, period. It comes from other people. But it comes to you from somebody giving it to you. And you got to ask yourself, why would people give me money? Oh, because you either gave them something that they wanted or needed. So now you got step number 3. Oh, so money comes from other people. And people will only give me money if I give them something that they want or really need. My job is to figure out what do they want or what do they need. Oh, okay. Now I'm not being selfish because I'm not focused on me anymore. I'm focused on trying to solve other people's problems. I'm focused on trying to give people what they're looking for. Okay? So that's what entrepreneurship is. Entrepreneurship, people often call business owners, they often call business owners selfish and greedy. A real business owner, a real capitalist is looking around to see what do other people want or need, and they're trying to give it to them for a profit. You got to make a profit. And here's another thing, another tip that I didn't even plan to tell you today is you got to become comfortable with making a profit. So many people have demonized profit. This is how the hypocrisy, you demonize profit, but you walk right into Walmart and buy stuff. And you think, well, I bought it from Walmart because it's cheap. Yeah, it's cheap. But do you think Walmart built that thing that you bought? No, they bought it from China for 10 cents and sold it to you for $2. And because $2 is more than 10 cents, it's cheaper than $5, you think that you got a deal. But Walmart still made a profit. So you got to become comfortable with saying, okay, it's okay for me to make a profit. Here's what you allow people to do. You glorify poverty and demonize wealth. And that's why money never sticks to yourself. Woo! You glorify poverty, demonize wealth, and that's why money doesn't stick to yourself. So in order to keep money in your personal economy, I'm not telling you to love money, but you can love what you're able to do with the money. What can you do with more money? What would you be able to do with more money? With more money, you would be able to help other people. With more money, you would be able to create more products and services that benefits the lives of other people. But you can't do that if you're constantly demonizing money. You also can't do that if you're constantly demonizing rich people. So you got to get comfortable with the idea of earning a profit. It's okay for you to make a profit. It's okay. You ain't bad. You ain't gonna go to hell for making a profit. Okay, now we can get into that spiritual side of things and why they told you money was the root of all evil. It was written by rich people that were in control back in the day. They didn't want the peasants coming up and rising, so they told you that money was the root of all evil, so you wouldn't want any of it. Fix my eyebrows. And so you have to understand the psychological game that the leaders have been playing on you since the beginning of the time. If I know how powerful your mind is and you don't, I'll always control you. Think about this. If I knew how powerful your mind was, but you had no idea what your powers were, I could always control you. And if I was in fear of you rising up, all I had to do was constantly tell you how sucky you are, how bad the economy is, this new disease that's coming out there that you should be afraid of, the war. All I got to do is keep you in a state of fear, because fear is going to keep you from recognizing your power. Think about this. Why don't the president or the media get on the news and say, "Good day, everybody. We hope you have an amazing day. We want to let you know that you are great Americans and that you have unlimited possibilities." They can easily say that message, but they don't say it. Why don't they say it? Because they don't want you to be powerful. I'm not saying the people that the bobbleheads behind the countertop that's talking to you on the camera, I'm not saying they don't want you to be powerful. It's the people that they work for. So what do? Do you go down to New York and protest the media? No, it's done protesting, okay? Done protesting. You protest even higher by saying, you know what? I'm going to control my own domain. Just like the Bible, they only pushed what they wanted us to believe. So much was taken out of it. Exactly. People don't want to talk about that, though. They don't want to talk about that. Why would King James give you the truth? Then you would be a king too if you knew what he knew. I'm not even gonna go there. Very few people want you to be a king as well. Okay, so we're not here to demonize that. I just want to. And so tip number 4 is to focus on income. The solution is income. The solution is not saving. If you save money, it's still becoming weaker and weaker and weaker. Imagine this. Let me give you a prime example. Okay? Let's imagine before the economy took a tank, you had $100,000 in your savings. $100,000. You're like, man, I'm good. I got $100,000 in my savings account. I'm good. The economy takes a turn for the worse. Inflation kicks in. Now your $100,000 isn't even worth $100,000 anymore. That same $100,000 won't buy today what $100,000 would have bought 2 years ago. So you just got bamboozled. Even though you saved your money, you still lost. You got lost in the sauce. So the solution is not solely saving. The solution is producing more income, okay? Producing more income, saving a little bit, investing some, but figuring out how can you multiply your money. And you can multiply your income by having multiple streams of income. MSI stands for multiple streams of income. What does multiple streams of income mean? It doesn't mean having multiple jobs. I'm not talking about working night hours and then day shift here, night shift here. That's not multiple streams of income. Multiple streams of income is income that flows to you regardless of what you're doing in the present moment. Multiple streams of income. So what I learned is to leverage the technology that we were given in this planet called the internet. So you leverage technology. For over a decade, I've been publishing books, putting out podcasts, creating websites that sell things and inform people. For over a decade, I've been publishing stuff on the internet that I could monetize. And some of that stuff pays me all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Some of it pays a lot, some of it pays a little. But the fact of the matter is I have so many streams of income that I don't even know how many I have. And when I tell people that, they're like, are you full of shit? No, I'm not full of crap. I have 4 businesses, but I'm talking about streams of income. You can use the power of the internet to create different streams of income for yourself. Multiple streams of income. Focus on income. What can I offer people that they want or need? And don't guess. Just go to Google keywords, type in the thing that you have as an idea, see how many people are searching for it, and that's going to tell you if that's a good idea or not. If they're searching for it, they want it or need it, then go and find how you can get it for a lower price and offer it to them at a higher price. That's your profit in the middle. Don't overcomplicate it, okay? So investing. I invest, yes, I do stocks, I do real estate, I buy land, I do all of that stuff too. But the point that I'm getting is find an avenue that's good for you. For me, it was building websites. So I build websites. People that I build websites for, they pay me to build the website, and then they also pay me monthly. Like I'm a digital real estate agent. That's how I call myself, because every single month my clients have to pay me over and over again to have access to my software. So I can be home in my purple shorts. You know what I'm saying? But if you get started now, if you figure out what you want to do now and you get started and you don't think that it's going to be overnight, but you put in the actual work and you just say, okay, I'm just planting seeds. That's how I was looking at it over the last 10 years. I struggled for a very long time. But when I understood that, hold up, if I plant seeds today on the internet, they have the potential to sprout into beautiful fruit that I can eat, that I can harvest in the future. So that's what you want to do. And I'm not saying the internet is the only way, but obviously I'm going to talk about the way that's been working for me. So if I told you that I built my money off of traditional real estate, I'd be lying to you. It's the digital real estate that affords me to buy the physical land that I now own. So I own land in so many places. The Ozark Mountains. Look at my little doggy right here. Digital real estate bought this dog. I paid hundreds of dollars for this dog with money that I made off the internet. This sapsucker right here costs so much money for a freaking dog. Back when I was a kid, you found a dog just walking down the road. But anyway, the point that I'm making is you can leverage technology for your benefit. You can leverage technology for your benefit, okay? So focus on the income, okay? Tip number 5, learn how to be grateful as much as you possibly can. Even if you don't feel like you have enough right now, focus on being grateful. Find things you can look around in your world and praise. Look up at your ceiling real quick. Just go ahead and look up at your ceiling. And I want you to say, man, I'm thankful for this roof over my head. I'm really grateful for this roof. I'm grateful for this flower, my little fake zebra back there. I'm grateful for but most importantly, I'm grateful that I'm here to experience all of this. I'm grateful. I'm happy. And the reason why I say become addicted to being grateful is because even if I didn't say it, I'm saying it now. Become addicted to being grateful, because when you are addicted to being grateful, what you are going to do is set your attention on finding more things to praise. And the more things you find to praise, the more opportunities you're going to start to recognize as you navigate through reality. Okay? So become addicted to being grateful. Find things to praise. And then last tip, and then I'm out of here, put yourself out there. If you have a business, if you have an idea, Put yourself out there. A simple recording of a TikTok video could literally change your life. TikTok has made me unconsciously, indirectly, well, actually directly, not being paid from TikTok, but just being on TikTok made me an extra $40,000, $50,000 just last year. Just being on TikTok. Just being on TikTok, the right person saw my video, they introduced me to somebody else, that put me in a room, and boom, 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 I made the money. So put yourself out there. And last but not least, if you want to be around a group of people, because it's going to be important for you to be around a group of people that are positive, that are constantly encouraging you. I have a mastermind group called Web Asset Group. You can visit it at webassetgroup.com. It's our own social media platform. Plus, we go live every Thursday where we do group coaching. And I show people what I've learned over the years that has allowed me to build up multiple businesses. And you can interact with other entrepreneurs on there as well, mingle with each other. It is a paid community, but if you're serious about it, I'm serious about you. I encourage you to master yourself, to master the web. Like, comment.